NASA gave a fundamental knowledge. Pluto isn't what you think. What is NASA recommending here? Are they inferring the latest revelations from the New Horizons space probe, which shows that odd things are occurring on Pluto's surface? One of the dangerous pictures, to be sure, shows something that appears to drift across the external layer of Pluto. This raises disturbing questions regarding whether some kind of high-level, dim life exists on this faraway world, or are we managing an effectively recognizable geographical brand on Pluto? Pluto may be barely anything, but the accounts it holds to tell are monstrous and stacked with shocks. At the point when Pluto's planetary status was disavowed in 2006, analysts were ignorant of the data from the New Horizons probe, which had just arrived at Pluto after years. From that point forward, we have understood that there is more to this smaller object than was previously understood. How did space experts really come to deny this planet, which we have all, in some way, grown up with? Everything going on with a real planet had been that way after the discovery of various other little planets in the Kuiper Belt. They contemplated that we truly required a limit for what is a planet, and what is a dwarf planet or trans-Neptunian object. How did space experts deny Pluto? It scored points for its size and round shape, yet the planet shares its orbit with several other objects. The orbit is, therefore, not considered to be perfect, and this was the defense for why Pluto was not commonly associated with the other large planets in the planetary system. Many people on Earth think this is a shame, and this decision by space specialists caused disappointment among individuals worldwide. Pluto, now not a planet, was a tricky thought for many. The fact that this small, crazy planet has so many fans on Earth provoked letters of protest to NASA from prominent specialists who supported the minimization. Honestly, even state-run associations got letters from residents requesting Pluto to be a planet again. This planethood had been with us since the 1930s and was a significant part of a group of 9 planets. It was like cutting edge this in 2015 when New Horizons sent us the first real picture. The Pluto-Earth mover planet showed us its charming face. Imagine it. It was the first credible image of Pluto. Assuming you've seen the planet on sheets or in school materials before, they were creative depictions, not real pictures. Pluto defied even the truly verified pictures of Pluto from the Hubble telescope. A clearer perspective on its surface in a manner New Horizons was allowed to photograph the little one was stunning, all around arranged, unquestionably rich, and with a heart. From that point forward, the planet on the external edge of the solar system has gained much more fans, and perhaps space experts will change their points of view one day, and we will get Pluto back. The first confirmed pictures of Pluto blew everybody's mind. It was an esteemed moment when the first data from the New Horizons probe arrived at mission headquarters in 2015. Everybody present knew they were about to see a planet for the first time. One that everybody was, in some way, familiar with but had never seen up close. The computers on Earth gathered this mesmerizing picture from immense amounts of individual pieces and pixels. What the probe uncovered about Pluto was a discovery that totally turned our understanding of this distant planet on its head. Pluto is altogether more changed on a very basic level, more arranged, and essentially more alive than planetary researchers had previously perceived. In addition, the little planet appeared to be covered in fascinating features and maybe even significantly more regular characteristics nobody had expected. With each new piece that New Horizons conceded, the faint, confusing world in the darkness of the Kuiper Belt transformed into something significant that showed such an overflow of life that it blew specialists' minds. Increasingly, stupefying geological wonders opened up before the examiners. Rather than the standard freezing and cratered, dead zone land, Pluto turned out to be an intriguing spot with incredible pieces of ice, profound ravines, and smooth, cold surfaces. It took an extremely long time for the unending assessment, information, photos, and discoveries to make the long journey from Pluto to Earth. Since 2015, we have been flabbergasted essentially a time or two with new, captivating viewpoints about Pluto. Walking on Pluto's surface? It's astonishing. This moving picture streamed in the media in 2016. In any case, what could you ever see here? It appears to be like an individual is strolling across an astonishing honeycomb-shaped snowfield. You can genuinely see ice honeycomb landforms here. However, not at all like on Earth, these frozen surfaces are not made of water, but of nitrogen and methane. Researchers recognized the astounding thing as a messy piece of ice that appears to be floating over the outer layer of the ice-covered plain. The gigantic block of ice is, as it turns out, made of solid nitrogen. These impossible-to-miss-looking landforms uncovered something very striking to arranged specialists. They now believe that there is a nitrogen supply several kilometers under Pluto's surface, where the solid blocks form. Geological movements within the planet push these blocks upwards, making the honeycombs and fields like the apparently meandering mountains. This points to a warm center of the planet, and this discovery is a piece of evidence that could have wide implications for how we may interpret Pluto. It's certainly more special than previously perceived. Land development from heat, alongside changes in surface plans, shows a kind of aliveness that suggests we have underestimated Pluto. This smaller object shows some thought, as well as fire in it, and that would without a doubt suggest that there are pockets of liquid inside Pluto that resemble oceans or magma. The topography team of the New Horizons mission, led by William McKinnon, even compared the internal presence of the little planet to an incredibly large scale, like the Hudson Narrows in Canada. Virtual encounters showed that this striking scene developed over hundreds of years and is still incredibly remarkable today. Could you ever see the exact X on the right beneath the chilly mass? This design was likely made by sublimation, a process in which a substance changes directly from a solid to a gaseous state, and the liquid stage disappears. These cycles occur because of the extreme temperatures on Pluto, perplexing topographical cycles, and natural eccentricities in a dead world. Christmas in the snow on Pluto. Does that sound insane to you? Well, it's a reality. Pluto really is a secret. The New Horizons mission uncovered fascinating pieces of the climate and seasonal changes on this planet. Pluto, which orbits neglected, faraway regions of the Kuiper Belt, has a climate. A thin layer of nitrogen, methane, and carbon monoxide that changes radically depending on how close or far Pluto is from the Sun. The changes influence the environment as well as the surface conditions of the dwarf planet. One especially bright aspect of the natural elements is snow on Pluto. This contains mostly frozen nitrogen and methane, unlike Earth, where snow forms only from water. The extremely low temperatures on Pluto cause the more unpredictable gases, nitrogen and methane, to accumulate and fall as exceptional snow. All of these interactions shape and animate Pluto's surface by covering the landscape with new stores. These disturbances drive other topographical developments, like cold movement and possibly cryovolcanic cycles. The New Horizons research also showed that these seasonal cycles are closely linked to barometric pressure. When Pluto is closest to the Sun, the little light is enough to heat up the dwarf planet's atmosphere, causing it to expand slightly and rise. When Pluto moves further from the Sun again, the air freezes and sinks back to the surface. This eccentricity prompts a striking irregularity. When Pluto's air gathers, it could literally snow made of nitrogen and methane. The variations in surface brightness and the distribution of coal stores further suggest that nearly all surface elements and scenes on Pluto are connected with these environmental cycles. Since Pluto's mountains are not made of rock, but of ice, which is truly versatile on this world, the whole surface moves significantly more than that of Earth. For example, what does Pluto's heart contain? Who might have guessed that Pluto's heart isn't simply a warm imprint, regardless of its unmistakable appearance? This region is also possibly one of the most astounding areas on Pluto, previously considered Sputnik Planitia. The Sputnik Planitia region is named after the first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, which the Soviet Union sent into space in 1957. This massive, heart-shaped ice surface extends across an area of about 1,000 kilometers and consists primarily of nitrogen ice, with traces of frozen methane and carbon monoxide. The brilliant, almost perfect surface of Sputnik Planitia forms a sharp contrast to the darker, more complex areas around it. Geologically, Sputnik Planitia is a colossal impact structure that was likely later modified by volcanic cycles, not by the normal volcanic activity on Earth, where magma rises from the planet's interior. Cryovolcanism on Pluto involves cold materials rising from the dwarf planet's interior to the surface. The heat sources somewhere inside Pluto cause nitrogen and other volatile substances to heat up and push upwards, where they freeze and form unique developments, like this one. Sputnik Planitia is astonishingly flat, which leads researchers to suspect that the cold surface is continuously renewed by internal cycles. It's likely convection processes inside the ice sheet that form these scenes. Researchers anticipate that there may be a range of liquid water beneath the smooth ice sheet of Sputnik Planitia, which is kept liquid by the heat inside Pluto. Researchers puzzle over whether types of life can exist in the subglacial ocean, but it's not altogether impossible. Charon, what role does Charon play? What barely anyone knew is that before New Horizons' mission, Pluto had its own moon. Not only one. Charon is Pluto's largest moon and was discovered in 1978 by the American astronomer James Christie. Charon is extremely large in comparison with Pluto, with a diameter about half of Pluto's. This has led to a significant connection between Pluto and Charon, where the two objects are tidally locked, meaning that Pluto and Charon always show the same side to each other. Charon's surface is also incredibly unique, compared to Pluto's with gigantic cliffs and massive impact craters. Researchers believe that Pluto and Charon have been exchanging materials in the form of comet-like objects. Pluto, once considered the 10th planet in our solar system, has long captured the imagination of space experts, scientists, and the general public alike. Discovered in 1930 by astronomer Clyde Tombaugh, it remained an image of planetary investigation and mystery. However, in 2006, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, renamed Pluto as a dwarf planet, igniting controversy and discussion. Regardless of this change, Pluto continued to fascinate researchers and fans who wanted to learn more about this distant object on the edge of our solar system.